Hey, everybody, welcome to the next edition of the MURCA Guns and Freedom podcast. As usual, I am your host, Yankee, and tonight we're going to talk about whatever we want because that's what this is about. This is just conversation between me and my viewers. This is a place where I'm accessible, where you can come ask me questions, suggest topics, whatever you want to do. You can even call me out if you disagree with me on something. I'll even set time aside. You can come in the live chat. We'll make a standalone video of you letting me know what I said that was wrong or what you disagree with. So don't be shy. Let me know what you think about things. Ask questions, suggest topics, whatever. Now, first off, I want to start, as usual, by thanking people who helped support the TYMP program, where we help provide firearms for people who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it. You know, single mothers, elderly people living on fixed incomes, whatever. That's the TYMP Pistol Project. Today we got 3 orders. That's gangbusters for us. Eric Griffin, James Margolis, and John Lewis all placed orders today to help support the program. James Margolis got one of these here, my sexy t-shirt that has me on there in my best Harley Quinn attire. If you want this shirt, go on over to my website. There's a link in the upper corner of this video where you can go over and buy whatever merch you want to buy over there. And it does help support TYMPPP. You can also get things that are cute, like the I love guns and animals, but people piss me off with the kitten and the puppy right there pointing at guns at you. So go on over, get yourself something, help support the programs. And thanks to those people for doing that. Now, as far as welcoming any new patrons today, I don't think we got any new patrons. We definitely need new patrons, but I don't think we got any. We haven't got a new Patrick Horkin, I think, was the last one that joined as a free member. And as on, we didn't lose any on Patreon. That's good. Now, as far as Subscribe Star goes, we did lose 2 today. We didn't gain any new ones, I don't think. Nope, 545x39 was the last new one. We did get a donation here from Ryan Sal Savage. What did he say here? This is long, but I'm going to read it since he put it in. Hi, Yankee. I've been watching a video from a guy at Hush Holster on YouTube. He is making a folding stock to replace the fixed stock on surplus SKS rifles. I was talking with him and I said, ask you if he could come show his stock on your live chat one night. I think he's just one guy making these things. I completely understand if you can't do this. And this goes on for a while, but if that's what he's talking about, yes, you definitely can have him come on. Let me know. I do not mind helping small businesses. You know, I'm not here to make money. I'm not like a lot of channels be like, if you're coming on my channel, you're giving me a percentage of the profits or you're paying me a fee for promoting you. We don't do that here. Come on in, promote your Pro 2A business. I like to help people out. So yeah, let him know he can come on in and do that. I don't mind at all. In fact, that's one of the things we're about here. We're not about making money. Or else I'd be doing this channel a lot different. I wouldn't be pissing off so many people. If I was capable of doing stuff differently without pissing off people. All right, now I want to get over here and see what we got coming in as far as super chats go. We got one coming in here from Casey 2 Guns. It says, I ordered a new gun. I should have it next week. Well, you know what that means? That means Casey's a cunt. Because I don't have a new gun. Did you get a new gun? I didn't get a new gun. So to heck with him for getting one when I didn't. But still, I'm glad to see people keeping the business alive, the industry alive. I mean, I want the gun industry to do very well. I mean, I bitch about some people who are just into this for the profit. Well, gun manufacturers, they're just in for the profit, but that's their business. The only time I have a problem with anybody on the internet or even anywhere that is in it for the money is when they pretend to be something different. When they pretend they're here to protect your rights or they're activists or whatever, when really they're just in it for the money. And they will lie and tell you whatever they want to tell you, promote things that they know are counter to the Second Amendment. Because here's the thing, what's good for business is usually what's not good for our actual rights. So when they're all in it for the money, but they try to tell you they're not, that's when it's a problem. When they're upfront with you about, hey, I'm a salesman and I want to sell you a gun. I want to show you something new you probably want to buy because the company paid me. I got no problem with that whatsoever. That's how it works. But he didn't tell us what gun he's got. All right, now I want to get over here to our questions and see if anything's coming in. Eric Griffin, that was an order And I do believe, wasn't John Lewis, wasn't that an order also? Yes, that was an order. Do we got anything here that's actual like comments? Let's see. Christopher Ramos said Punva, P&V, one pterosaur, one velociraptor that we adopted. Then he split because he's a deadbeat dino dad. And I have to raise him on my own, Bitey and Bitey Jr., and he's paying his child support payments on. Lucas Imes also chimed in here and said, D&D, Dunkley Ostius, and Dakota Raptor, Mothman ate my ass in Yankees' basement, and all I got was this stupid shirt. Well, what shirt? You didn't show us the shirt. I don't have a basement either, so I don't think that's true. My house don't have no basement. Basements aren't big up here. Up here on the mountain, it'd be fine because, like down in the lower areas, they worry about groundwater and stuff, because we're a coastal state. But still, a lot of the houses down there have basements. In the South, I didn't have basements. West Virginia, we had basements. It depends on where you live, I guess, where basements are common. Up here, they're not that common up on the mountain because this is just solid rock. So you'd have to like excavate into solid rock to put a basement in. Plus, basements are more expensive, and I don't want to do anything I don't have to. So I don't have a basement. So I doubt he ate your ass in my basement. My crawl space maybe, but not my basement. And I don't like going in that crawl space. I get claustrophobic bad. I have to go into there sometimes, and I don't like it. I usually make my son go because I don't want to do it. So I think there's something wrong with what he's saying there. I think he didn't get his facts straight. Let's move on here. Jason Thompson, that's Officer Tater Hater, for those of you that do not know. He said, I sent you more emails. I saw that you sent some. I haven't had a chance to watch them. I'll watch them tonight when I'm sitting in there by myself tonight. After everybody else goes off to bed or work or wherever they're going. It's just me and the dogs watching TV, watching YouTube. I've been watching reviews of there's this one channel, I can't remember what his name is, but he does reviews of like old Godzilla movies and stuff. And he's kind of comical. He's a Canadian. And so I've been watching those because it's kind of like reliving the movies that you love so much. I've been watching those a lot lately. John Heasley paid his $2 tithe to Phil and said, I sent you an email subject, attack bird. Yes, I saw that. I actually have it up here. Let me share that. Share. There's his attack bird. Rescued her from a bad home. Oh, well, that's a good reason to have a bird, rescuing them from a bad home. I personally have a very staunch no birds policy because it's just, I always think it's sad to have them in a cage when they should be out flying around. I'm not a big fan of that, but rescuing one from a bad home, that's a good reason to have them. Also, they're loud and they're dirty, so I'm not a big fan. I want to be the only loud and dirty thing in the house. We don't need multiple things making noise just to make it and shitting all over stuff. I'd like to be the only one doing that. John Mandrick chimed in here, did a nice little, got himself 5 entries into the silver bullet drawing. Because remember, whenever you do participate in this, every time you do a $5 super chat to help the Pets and Vets program, you do get 1 entry into the silver bullet drawing that we do every month. Which I finally today broke down and ordered Andrew P's bullet because I hadn't got around to it yet, but I ordered his. He won last month. And I didn't take this long to get it. He just took forever to let me know what he wanted. But you are registered when you do a $5 super chat, 1 entry into the silver bullet drawing. So be prepared for werewolves. This is the only channel on YouTube that actually cares if you get eaten by a werewolf. And we actually do stuff to help you not get eaten by a werewolf. Show me one other channel that does that. John Mandrick said, people are ragging on the Kel-Tec 57 by 28, but I don't see anyone else trying to get around the capacity bands. Well, I don't know. How are they trying to get around the capacity band? I'm not real sure what the Kel-Tec 5728 is. Let me look, because I don't like Kel-Tec. Not because I got anything against the company, like, oh, they're evil or anything like that. It's just their products are very shitty. Are you talking about the P50? What are you talking about? because I was very interested. That was one of the few times I was ever actually interested in a Kel-Tec product, was the P50, until I actually handled one and saw how shitty that gun is put together. The little charging handle, you pull it out and it's like wobble, 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 wobble. You know, I'm just like, no thanks. Design wise, it's awesome. That's why I love when Ruger takes some of their designs and makes them, because Kel-Tec will design something cool, then Ruger will make it decent. So I always like when I see that. Let's hope Ruger does that, because I was very interested in the P50 when it first came out. Kevin Payton looks like he paid his tithe to Phil here and said, "Hail Phil, Smith & Wesson, loose the lock and I'll be back." I think he means lose the lock and I'll be back. And he said loose, like as in loose women. Lose the lock and I'll be back. Arnold Schwarzenegger there. Yes, I still bought Smith & Wessons because I'm a revolver lover, and I don't mind the lock bad enough that it would make me not have what I think are good revolvers, but I would much rather not have locks on them, to be totally honest with you. So if they started getting rid of the locks, I'd probably start selling some of my Smith & Wessons and getting ones without locks, because the ones without lock, where I definitely buy some more Smith & Wessons. That's one of the reasons I move to pythons and stuff like that. Well, the trigger's better too, but also no lock. So that makes the decision even easier. Now, if the Smith & Wesson 686 pluses and stuff like that new mountain gun they did, well, that makes it a harder decision. They do that in a shorter barrel, might go to that instead of the python, because then 7 shots and no lock. Andrew Howard donated here and said he got an entry into the drawing. I didn't say anything, though. I don't know why he didn't say nothing. Did he see something over here? I saw that he said, "Have you seen the 686 and 629 mountain guns? Also, it sounds like Smith & Wesson is getting rid of the Hillary hole going forward." Yeah, that's actually what my video was about today. If you watch my videos, you'd know that. Come in here not watching my videos. I swear. Some of you people, no respect, no respect. Greg Hammett says, "I'm Greg." I'm glad he let us know that. "And I'm a fan of yours. You have become a trusted resource of mine. First timer." Referencing best caliber to carry episode, "I often carry a Smith & Wesson 38 642, small, convenient, comfortable, rather than not number, blah, blah, blah. Hits on target trumps what caliber you're carrying." Well, somebody says that. I always believe your first goal is for be capable and then accurate, because it doesn't matter if you hit your target if you don't have a capable gun. But 38 special is mostly capable of doing most things, so you're capable. So just hitting. Risk of over penetration. Yeah, he's asking what I think about things like risk of over penetration. It's not a thing. Risk of over penetration is not a thing, period. It's a made up concern by a bunch of think they know somethings on the internet, because handgun calibers ain't over penetrating people and then still being dangerous, especially when you consider the fact that 9 out of 10 times, if your bullet hits something behind someone, it's because you missed the person you were aiming at, not because it over penetrated. So worry more about hitting your target and less about over penetration. Lastly, you've convinced me I should be carrying a revolver, and I have a Smith & Wesson 66, but can't come up with an inside waist appendix. Oh, he's wanting to carry a revolver appendix. Well, no, don't get a revolver. Well, you could, but it ain't gonna be comfortable. If you're going to carry appendix, find yourself a smaller semi-automatic gun that has a manual safety, or don't carry one in the chamber or something like that. But revolver, it's not set up for inside waistband, period, much less appendix. But it can be done. I just wouldn't recommend it. Let me see here. Let me get back to where it was at. James Petty got an entry into the drawing and said, "How do you do your drawings on the shirts and merch? Do you draw by hand or do you do it digitally?" Well, it's kind of drawing it by hand. I do it digitally, but I have one of those Apple pencils which is just basically it turns your iPad into paper and you have a little pencil. And I draw it freehand on my iPad, draw it freehand. And the good thing about that is because you're drawing it digitally, if you don't like what you just did, you can erase it really easy. Or you can do it in layers. I'll do a lot of stuff in layers. Like I'll draw the head, and then I'll draw the body and like the way I think I want it to be. And then I'll draw the feet on different layers. And that way I can work layers. And then once you start filling in, it makes it much easier. You can just duplicate your black lines, fill it in, lay the black lines back over it so you don't lose nothing. So I do it freehand, but I do it on a more modern media because I do it on a pad with one of those Apple pencils. I've shown a video of me actually doing it at one point. Heavy J used his 8-month WAP chat to say, since Smith & Wesson are making guns with no locks in it, it's time to hit the pawn shops and gun shops and lowball the guns with the Hillary holes. Ahoy, Captain Dale Rickety, he says. Well, I haven't seen, did Dale say anything yet today? I don't think he has. I don't know if he's still alive. You might be ahoying a corpse for all I know. Light Blue Oyster Colt also said, P-Gar, you're telling me someone peed on this gar? As he's talking to P-Gar. Well, who doesn't pee on a gar every now and then? I mean, I always assume anytime I see a gar, somebody's peed on it. Let's see. Let's make sure we're all caught up over here on the supers. We are. James Petty was the last one. So let's get over here. We got all the ones over here answered. And let's get to the regular chat here. See if there's anything coming in on the chat over here. Remember, we don't really get to all the chats in the live chat sometimes. I apologize for that, but we just don't have enough time the way we're doing things now. If you got something you definitely want answered, email is better. And even better than that is a super chat if you want to support the programs. But let me know you emailed me. If you can. So I guess it kind of washes. But I answered in priority of super chats, usually the ones on PayPal, then the ones on YouTube, and then emails, and then the live chat. Because it's harder for me to find stuff in the live chat. You missed 2 super chats I posted late on the last 2 chats. So let me go see if I can find those. Where are supers? There we go. See all. It's a lot harder for me to find. Well, if you did one late on yesterday's chat, they didn't pay me for it, and it's not on the list. Unless you did it in PayPal. Let me check PayPal. Let me see if you had the sense to use PayPal. Well, who am I talking to? No, we know we didn't have the sense to use PayPal. Let's check, see, though. Nope, I don't see anything on PayPal from you either. So maybe they're not coming through. Maybe that's why I'm not answering them, because they ain't coming through. All right, let's get back to the questions here. All caught up there. Let's get back over here. Where the fill watermark? Like I said, it won't be up there during the live part because I'm adding it post afterwards because it looks better when I add it afterwards. Oh, Joe Pearson sent us a picture here to share with the group. And he said, it's getting cold out. And he's showing his puppy in his little coat. Turnip needs a coat because he don't like it outside when it's cold. But he don't have a, how many pictures of it did he send me? There's a lot of pictures of the puppy. But yes, it is getting cold out. I used to have a jacket just like that. I wonder if I wish I still had that. I don't know where it's at. But I used to have that same, like the buckskin with the wool. And I loved that jacket. I wore that for years. I don't really wear a coat a lot, but I liked that one. And like I said, Turnip does not like cold. He needs one. Django don't mind the cold. He's got a double coat of fur. Turnip, it's just if it rains or it's windy, it goes straight to his skin because he doesn't have much. He's got a thin layer of fur. He's just some meat and bones wrapped in a thin layer of fur. Kind of like how my uncles or my brothers used to tell me I was just a skin and bones wrapped in a thin layer of fag when we were kids. They were hurtful. Let's see here. All right, where were we? Why is the news media reported that Biden pardoned his family cause of Trump? Also, why is a small portion of the German government implying that Trump is going to become a dictator? Well, because a lot of people think he's going to become a dictator. I don't know if that's possible with our Constitution the way it is, as long as if the people in power don't want it to happen, it ain't going to happen. But, I don't trust the government at all. I think the government would love to have a good dictatorship. So I don't trust them or Trump. I don't trust any politician, and I definitely don't trust the government or the billionaires they work for. And the fact that he surrounded himself with all billionaires makes me trust him even less. Because I ain't never met a billionaire yet that wants to do what's best for the people. And anybody who thinks that, you ought to fucking wear a helmet every day of your life, because you're obviously soft-headed. But like I said, I don't think it can happen unless they want it to happen. But I only own one Springfield Armory SOCOM 16 M1A. Well, those are good. I like it. I have two M1As and I like it. What's for dinner? I'm having enchiladas later. We're grilling steaks tonight. Zyler got steak. So as soon as I get out of here, I got to go grill steak. So 17 more minutes and I'll be eating. Well, I won't be eating. I'll be cooking steak. I haven't eaten anything all day because of that. All I had was some popcorn earlier because I knew we were having steak tonight. I know you don't like ankle carry. How about for a bug gun? I do it all the time. No, I would never carry on my ankle. Just is not a good way to carry, in my opinion. I'm going to find other ways to carry a bug gun. I don't really carry a bug either, so backup gun. A lot of people are wondering. Thoughts on the new Kel-Tec PR57? I don't know what the Kel-Tec PR57 is. Let me go look and see. It looks cool, but I'm sure it's garbage. Featuring a rotary barrel and a top-loading design. I don't really. It's got like, I guess you just shove it into the grip from the top, like a stripper clip, but it goes in from the top. And I guess that might get around some of the laws about detachable magazines, since you load it like a stripper clip. So that's probably what they're talking about. So yeah, I have to look into that some more. That must have been what he was talking about earlier. It's a cool looking gun. I like the look of it, and I like that whole idea about not having a magazine, so they can't say something about, oh, it's got a detachable magazine with this. Doesn't got a detachable magazine. It's using a stripper clip. Although I do know some of the laws do say if it takes a magazine clip or a magazine or a clip that holds more than 20 rounds, and that would technically be a clip, because a clip is not a magazine. A clip is just the loading thing. So it would be a clip, I would guess. But it would spark a debate, I think. And in some states, if they don't say clip, I don't think it would be an issue. So I'll have to do a little more checking in. I like the way the gun looks. I like the rotating barrel and that rounded off slide. It looks kind of cool, but in the end, we know it's a Kel-Tec. So that's the only important part about it is that it's a Kel-Tec. But other than that, and I don't think we should really have to get around magazine restrictions. I think we should destroy those magazine restrictions. Have them torn apart in the courts is what I would think would be the better thing to do, to be honest. All right. But, in case someone's watching that doesn't know, if you're watching and you don't know what it looks like, here, let me show what it looks like. Because it was news to me. I'd never seen it before. I'm assuming it just came out, probably SHOT Show kind of a thing. But there, it looks kind of cool. I like the looks of it. It's got a very rounded off top. Now it's got that typical Kel-Tec frame, which I'm not a fan of, but it's interesting. I'll say that. Let's just say that. I might do a video on it tomorrow because it is interesting. Well, it won't be tomorrow. I got to go take the money to the Fur Friends people tomorrow, and I can't do two things in one day. That'd be too much for me. I'd get the, what they call it nowadays, these kids get anxiety. I'd get the anxiety. Let's see here. If Phil wasn't in the corner, he's out looking for flatten trailers. Yeah, he might be. He might be out looking to. So some of you people don't pay you tithe, because the vast majority of you in here, there's 140 people in here a minute ago, and none of and most of you ain't paid your tithe. So he's probably looking for you. So I'd hate to be you. I mean, he shoved my car into a tree just for, I don't know. I didn't even do anything. So imagine what he'll do to you. I think he was just giving me a warning. Where are we at? Hello, Sabazian. Let's see, Sabazian. Why are revolvers so expensive? Been trying to get one, but just can't makes it. Well, they're more expensive to make. Generally, they're all steel. They're a different type of mechanism. Polymer guns are cheap to make. Slides are cheap to make. They're not really, they don't interact with anything. Semi-automatics are just a lot cheaper to make. They're also a lot less reliable, but that's part of it. That's why, revolvers, you get what you pay for. Well, not always. Sometimes there's some cheap, nasty revolvers, but generally, like I said, they are more expensive to make. And plus, they don't make as many of them. So they can't crank out 1,000 and make, smaller profit off of 1,000. They have to crank out 20 and make, a decent profit off 20 in comparison. If you want the industry to do well, then get a Charter Arms. I don't want a Charter Arms. Well, I do want a Charter Arms. I want a Charter Arms pit bull. That's about the only one I think I want. I get pissed at the big channels doing hit jobs on firearms because they don't get paid. Oh, they do that all the time. There's some companies like Beretta really won't pay a lot of them. SIG doesn't pay them, and they don't like it. They want paid. And if they ain't going to get paid, they ain't going to do it. Logging is good for forest management. Grouse and woodchuck need young forests. Logging is absolutely not good for foresting. That's deforestation. Taking out old growth trees and putting in pine trees does not do anything for the environment. That's a total fucking lie. The best thing for the forest would be for us to stay uninvolved and let them every now and then cleanse themselves with a good fire or something. But unfortunately, we want to live in the middle of them, so we get upset when our houses burn down. But the best thing for the forest would be for us to leave them the fuck alone and let them do what they need to do on their own. But like I said, we like to live in them. Like I live in one basically, so we don't want our houses burning down. So we have to clear stuff away and all this other stuff. But no, that's garbage. That whole idea, that's like Rush Limbaugh saying, there's more forest out, national forest now than there was when we started this country. No, it's because there was no national forest, period. And the forests definitely aren't healthier. And there's definitely not more habitat. And there's definitely not more species of animals thriving. No, that's garbage science. I've never seen an environmentalist that isn't working for a logging company say anything like that. Logging is only good for reducing forests from actual natural old growth forests to manageable pine tree farms. If that's what you want to try to mean by good for forest management. You said that you heard a Kel-Tec employee admit that the company is fully aware that they make garbage products and they don't care. When it wasn't just an employee, it was one of the management. Remember, they started off by buying their machinery from like places like NASA and stuff. They bought old CNC machines and stuff from the aerospace industry. The guys who started it were in the aerospace industry. I used to work adjacent to the aerospace industry and made no qualms about it. They knew what they were making was junk, but they were making it cheap enough that they could sell one, replace it twice, and still make a profit. And they knew most people who buy guns at that level are never going to shoot them. They're going to stick them in a drawer somewhere just to have it and not shoot it, or they're going to buy it as a tackle box gun because it's cheap. So they know most 90% of their guns are never going to be fired. And the ones that do get fired, they can replace them and they still make a profit off the ones that even get fired. And then after they replace it twice, people are going to get rid of the gun. They're not going to keep getting it fixed. That was their marketing plan from the beginning. And it makes sense. I mean, it's not like it doesn't make sense. The Kel-Tec PR57 is a compact 5.7 with rotary lock barrel and holds 20 rounds loaded from a stripper clip. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That does count as a clip. So if the law says clip that holds more than 10 rounds, then it's still going to be prohibited. So it depends on how your law is written in your state, I guess. What do you mean, you people? You know what I mean. You people, ugly people. You all fucking ugly. I've seen a lot of you, and I ain't been surprised yet. Yeah, y'all exactly like what I picture you. Ugly. Not there's anything being wrong with ugly. I'm not judging. It's very nice of most of you to not have your cameras on or anything, or have your pictures in your profile. You're doing us a service. I appreciate the video from last night. What was one last? Oh, the one about shooting over property. How do you avoid buying new replacement parts from Springfield for the Springfield firearms you own? Well, I haven't had to replace any parts yet, but you can find those aftermarket all over the place. When you buy replacement parts, it's usually not from the company you bought the gun from. It's usually from someplace like MURCA or something. And they're usually used or from third-party manufacturers. MURCA sells lots of used parts. So it ain't hard. Still waiting to see video of someone reholster an appendix carry and suppressed gun after a few mag dumps. Oh, yeah, that would burn somebody's wiener. That would be a wiener roast. Oops, I just jumped to the bottom. I noticed that Springfield immediately raised their prices after they received bad publicity to offset the cost of their lost sales. Yeah, that's people don't want to buy a product, jack prices up, but people are stupid enough to do it. So if my EDC is a 7-shot 357 Magnum revolver, am I outgunned by a car full of thugs following me at 2 a.m. or should I EDC? Or why are you worried about being outgunned by a car full of thugs following you? If you're in a car, well, don't stop and deal with them. And if you're doing something that's going to cause thugs to a car full of thugs to come after you armed, well, then you probably should stop selling drugs or stop being in a gang. Ankle carry 2 Desert Eagles for the workout. Oh, how would I put my pants on? There's a line from Bob's Burgers where Sergeant Bosco is trying on skinny jeans, and Bob says, "I think I can read the serial number on your gun," because he's got an ankle holster on and he's put on skinny jeans. Does a 5.7 have good stopping power? Well, depends what you mean by stopping power. There's no such thing as stopping power. Does a gun have adequate penetration? Does it leave an adequate wound channel? Does it do adequate damage? And so far, all the testing I've done on 5.7 is inconclusive. It seems to do pretty much everything 9mm and stuff will do, except for be as big around. So until I can test it against stronger stuff, like some heavy duty plate glass or something, to see if it deviates, or test it against, I'm going to do some pots and pans shooting pretty soon and see if it can get through pots and pans as well as 9mm can. Or do they both fail? Do they both succeed? But so far, my testing has been fairly inconclusive, but it's definitely not anything I'd want to be shot with. It definitely penetrates well. So if you hit on target, it will do its job. The boomer from Charter Arms looks like a big cow patty. I didn't know what a boomer was. Charter Arms boomer? Never heard of that. Oh, that thing. It doesn't have any front sight or anything like that. Yeah, I've seen that. Taurus has done a few guns like that too. I can't say I'm a fan. Eastern Washington, they are harvesting ponderosa pines for wood. It is crappy wood, easy to break, but they grow back fast. Well, yeah, we just need to start finding an alternate building material. There's so much stuff out there we could recycle. We're always worried about so much carbon in the air, like, oh my God, all the carbon offsets and everything. Well, why don't we develop technology to remove that carbon from the air, mix it with something else, produce carbon, tube building materials, and build our houses out of that stuff. That way, instead of having to worry about how much of it are we making, we'll be like, well, we'll use what we make and start building houses out of it. That's how I think we're going to solve the environment crisis. Is not through, we got to go back to the Stone Age. No, it's going to be through reducing the use of some power sources, like petroleum, etc. But we're still going to be making pollution, and the rest of the world's still going to be making pollution. But I think a better alternative to that is develop technology to solve the problem. That's what we've been good at. So I think technology will eventually save us. Unfortunately, right now, though, you live in a society where a lot of the big corporations are against that because the timber industry doesn't want to develop a building material out of that. So you got to fight these big companies that have created these laws and rules that benefit them and keep them in business while preventing new technologies from being developed. That's like when they say, oh, Trump's going to get rid of so many regulations. It's horrible. He's going to destroy the earth. Well, if he's getting rid of the regulations that actually do protect the environment, I disagree with that. If he's getting rid of a lot of the regulations that were just put in place to prevent competition and stifle creativity and development, well, then, yeah, get rid of those. And that's about 80% of it. The PR57 stripper clips are 10 rounds each, 2 clips per full load. Well, that does make a new wrinkle. It's got a 10-round clip. They'd have to rewrite the laws to where if it accepts multiple 10-round clips, but I don't think that they're written that way. So it's creative. The stripper clip is not required. Well, it still wouldn't matter if it's required. It's capable of accepting. So as long as it's capable of accepting, that's how almost all the laws are written. Capable of accepting. It just occurred to me, I was carrying a Smith & Wesson SD9VE. Then after a year watching you, I switched to a Model 85, then a 605. Well, it's because you got good sense. You learned better. Although the SD is a good gun, I wouldn't say it's not. Revolver's better. Grouse and woodcock need young forest, and conservationists support logging as well as forestry departments. Not really. No, most conservationists do not support logging, period. You're getting some false information there. I don't know where you're getting your information from, but I get newsletters from a lot of the big conservationist organizations in this country. I ain't never seen one of them support logging, ever. I see ones that work for logging companies support logging, and I've seen newsletters from logging companies disguised as, outdoorsy things that do, but no true conservationist supports logging in that sort. They do support staying away from the fucking forest, leave them alone. And if you want to protect, if you want to have, and they do suggest for where forests butt up to people living there, because we like to live in the forest, they do suggest things you can do contrary to logging, to other than logging, to manage the forest, but they don't really support logging. So you're operating on false premises right off the bat. Composite lumber burns very toxic and structurally fails before burning wood. Well, no one's saying just do composite lumber. But here's the thing, lumber burns too. If we build something that doesn't have to burn, like it'd be hard to burn most carbon composites. They'd probably be better than wood as far as not burning. And there's all kinds of fire resistant stuff. What was the thing I saw the other day that was cool? It was recycled wood products around these like core blocks, and they go together like Legos. And that's pretty cool. I was looking at that and I was like, well, once you had a foundation, you can build your own fucking house, because it was like putting together fucking Legos. I thought that was very cool. I watch a lot of those videos on tiny homes and built new building techniques and 3D printed houses, like the 3D printed concrete houses. That's pretty fucking cool. I like that idea too. Now, if we could do that out of some sort of material that we draw the carbon out of the atmosphere, mix it with something, make something that we can 3D print with. Imagine if you decide you wanted a house and all they did was come in and prepare the land, set a foundation, and then they rolled up this big machine one day and it sat there for a couple of days and printed you a fucking house. And then they just came in and wired it for electricity and all this. And it'd probably be pre-wired, but you could already set it up to where it printed with like tubes and stuff. But yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Anyone that consumes aluminum has no business talking about the environment. Well, who wants to consume aluminum? I don't think anybody wants to consume aluminum. I don't think it'd be very tasty. Ducks Unlimited supports duck hunting. That bothers me. Well, yeah, well, Ducks Unlimited isn't about ducks. It's not a duck conservationist group. It's a hunting. They sell hunting paraphernalia. So of course they want you to go out and duck hunt. That's their whole thing. You never seen a Save the Whales group that says, you know what's good for whales? You know, whaling. No, not really. It's like when people say, oh, well, there's too many deer, so we need to start killing deer. I was like, well, you know what would be better than just randomly killing deer, culling them? Introducing predators back so that they do it. So not only do the predators now have a place back in society, in the environment, and a better ecosystem, but the deer population is taken care of, and we don't have to go out and just randomly kill them. Although when I was younger, I was glad we had to, because they would come to us every year and say, hey, we owned a lot of acreage inside of a game reserve. They'd say, hey, could you kill 10 deer? Give us 10 tags. At our property, you could basically kill 10 deer in a day if you wanted to. So, and then we would donate a lot of that meat to other people who needed it. We would give it to a butcher who would keep some for himself. Some would get donated, and then we would get some because it's way too much meat. We couldn't eat that in a year. So it worked out for everybody. But I would have much rather there just been wolves. Now, I would have had to watch out for wolves when I was out in the woods, but I think I'd have lived. I was around bears all the time and did fine. For your octopus, squid, kraken. What for my octopus, squid, kraken? Oh, I haven't checked over here to see if there's any comments coming in, have I? I'm not doing a very good job. Oh my God, we're out of time. Let me go make sure there's no super chats I missed. I got to be inside having steaks. You people are distracting me. Activity, transactions. Nope, nothing came in while we were talking, so I don't have to stick around. I want to say thanks to everybody who showed up tonight. I've never been to an adult club yet. Advice. What do you mean adult? You mean like where people do their taxes? What are you talking about? Are you talking about like a titty bar? The best advice I can give anybody ever going to a titty bar, and this seems to be the thing a lot of people seem to have a problem with, is remember the dancers make their money by convincing you they like you. I've never seen so many people in my life, people go to strip clubs and think that dancer has a thing for me. No, they don't. They have a thing for your money. They don't have a thing for you. As long as you can remember that this is all a financial transaction and they don't have any feelings for me, I shouldn't have any feelings for them, and nothing I do gives me any right to touch them, and they are not wanting me to touch them inappropriately unless it's for money, then you'll be all right. Most people who get thrown out seem to be people who can't keep track of that. But all right, everybody, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Car insurance companies want you to hunt for deer. Oh, I don't know. Do they actually promote that? I would say they say don't run into fucking deer. It's like out where we are. You have to be careful at night, not speed. And there's like one road, there's a back road that I can take over to Costco and Lowe's and stuff. But I will not take it after dark because there's pets, there's deer, and everything else on. And I'm like, I'll just stay on the highway. It's longer, takes about the same amount of time, but it's further to drive. But I'll just do that because I don't want to take a chance hitting a deer. It's bad enough around here. You got to be real careful, especially at any given moment. There could be 20 deer in our yard, so you got to be careful. Well, the other night, jumped over my fucking car. I came outside. I heard something in the storage in the carport, and it was doing the doom. There's motion in your carport, and I could hear it from the gym. Excuse me. I could hear the alarm going off. So I just said, "Well, what the fuck?" I thought it was Caden or something. So I walked around, and there's a deer in there looking for deer feed because I hadn't filled the deer feeders yet. And it ran, and my car was sitting in front of the carport because I had just washed it, and it ran straight at my car. And I'm like, "It's gonna fucking hit my car." And it jumped and leaped all the way over my car. Didn't even touch it. I was like, and when he jumped, I was like, oh, but he didn't hit it. So fucking deer. But at least that one was courteous. But as I was saying, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for participating. Thanks for everything you do for the channel. It is appreciated. I will see you all again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again. I forgot to look at the camera.